Hey, buddy.
What is up, dude?
How you doing, man?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Better than usual. Can you see me?
Not really.
Oh, how about
There we go. Whoa, now I can see it.
that? All right, hold on. I gotta finish this up. Otherwise, I'm gonna forget.
No worries.
Where's B?
I don't know. Not here yet.
She's the one that instigated this.
Always.
I like that girl. She's pretty good stuff.
It's true.
Announcement. Fine service next week.
Nice. Done and done, huh?
Done and done.
I like that. Get the stuff done.
Woo! What's next week's date? The 12th?
I don't even know. No, I don't think that's right.
Sunday.
Today's the 2nd. Oh,
No,
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah, it's Sunday. Sunday. There you go. 17. Ah, cheer.
You're flying, man.
You're flying?
You are.
Yeah. I just did. Do you do planning center? That's what we use as our little slideshow thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool program.
It's good to know.
Yeah. What are we doing? Songs, media. I don't even know what I'm doing. And attachments.
You just add stuff in there and then it creates a...
Yeah, slideshow deal. I think I got it.
Like, what does it cost?
I think it's like $18 a month. It's real cheap.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. And it's wicked. It's easy because it's linked in with all like the song stuff.
Yeah.
All the software, that kind of
the licensing and all that.
Yeah. Hey.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yep.
Even though I don't have my headphones on?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's weird.
That's crazy talk.
The headphones are about like preventing the echo and stuff.
Preventing headphones?
Mm-hmm. Preventing echoes and like reverb and things like that.
Now I only hear you through my ear holes.
That's good. That's
Tommy saw the nail holes.
Oh.
I got a question. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I got a question for everybody. Are all these, these wires that are running everywhere? Are those telephone wires?
Where are you looking?
Like everywhere. You drive down the street, there's all these wires hanging up on
internet too, I think. That's why you have to plug into your house.
Huh?
Where you live?
Oh yeah.
They're mostly
like everywhere.
Electricity, telephone, internet.
It depends on where you live. Because Jason, where you live, most of the power lines will be underground.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So most of the stuff you see above the ground is phone. But it depends on where you live. Because like North Carolina or probably Seattle too, you probably don't bury your power lines.
I wish we did, but we don't.
We got a major problem because nobody's using landlines.
Yeah.
So we have this whole country covered in wires and poles.
Yeah.
And we're gonna take them down. I don't know. Like I was thinking about that driving because there's tons. I would just
see if you can come up with an alternative use for them.
Yeah, because I was thinking if it's power, why are they called telephone poles?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a good question. That's the real conundrum.
That's the real thing right there. Jason's on it.
That's the rub.
This is the place you go to get this hard hitting, controversial talk.
I couldn't make it one of my three.
No, I imagine not.
Not really.
I really wanted to talk about it.
I really wanted to talk about it because I was driving to work today. That's all I was thinking about. Man, because we around churches, every church I've worked at, there's like a room with obsolete stuff.
Oh yeah,
filling it. And I think that's comparable. The country has a country full of obsolete poles and wires, right?
Yeah, but only until the nuclear holocaust, and then it'll be really valuable again. Our dystopian future will have landlines, that's for sure.
Do you think?
Yeah, once we stop trusting satellites and stuff, we can't have cell phones. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the future generations see it that way. You know, like.
Well, not yet. Not yet. The bad stuff hasn't happened yet.
It's like the canoeing the mountains, only a country instead of the church. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's a really good observation.
What's that book about? I'm thinking about reading it with my intern. It's about practical.
I'm reading it with everybody. I love that book. It's
about ministry.
It's about ministry. Yeah, it's about
I don't think it'd be good with interns. That'd be my advice. But
what'd you say, Greg?
I'm not sure it'd be good with youth interns.
Yeah, but this intern wants to go to seminary to be a pastor. He doesn't want to focus on youth.
Yeah, that's a.
Well, that might be good for him. If he's that kind of person, it might be good for him.
Yeah, it's pretty academic.
It might push him towards not going to seminary. So,
have you considered reformation by? I can't even give the joke because I forgot the guy's name.
Scooter
Driscoll.
Oh,
radical reformation. Do you remember? Andy had there's a chapter about how women are to blame. I think I burned all the copies of that book. Unfortunately, because I want to read that chapter again. Remember, he blames women for beer, like bad beer in a country or something.
Oh yeah, and he said it's okay if I read teenage girl magazines because I need to be everything to everybody.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I remember so much about that book that I hated. I don't remember good things. I don't remember things about books I liked.
I never read that one.
No.
I've never read Driscoll at all.
I didn't think I did either until Jason just reminded me.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, what's the situation? Who starts what and what's going on?
Greg, so are you going to do the past?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. I mean, I'd love to learn.
I know, we'll work that out. I didn't have any of my passwords and sign-in stuff with me, and I was like, crap, I don't know how to get that to you. I should have done it right away. I just didn't. I went first last week. Who picked last week?
I picked.
Yeah. All right, B. That means you get to introduce.
Oh.
Yes.
So B introduces. I go first. B goes second. Jason picks.
Is that right?
I guess.
Yeah, everybody just rotates down one. I
don't love my 3. Like, give me a second to think of a good one.
Oh man, I had like 5 this week. I had a bunch.
Can I have one of yours?
Just tee them up. I usually
take the World Series.
I'm not choosing baseball. I mean, is someone else?
Oh no, I'm telling you, that was one of the 5 you could have of mine. That I don't.
I know. I didn't watch it. I had youth group, so I feel like I'd be lying if I said.
You didn't watch any of it?
I recorded it, and then I only recorded the first hour.
Oh, fail.
So when I got home, I watched the first hour, and then I just watched the highlights. I went to MLB tonight, or baseball tonight.
Yeah. But did you watch the other games?
Oh, yeah. I watched all the
games. It's the World Series.
Yeah. That game in Houston.
That one was nuts.
That was if I were to say put the World Series.
Wait, what did you say, Jason?
That Houston game.
The 13-12 one or whatever.
Yeah, the 13-12 one. They were just going nuts.
That one.
Yeah, that's about as good as baseball gets.
That was awesome.
And that drew everybody in. Like I talked to everybody, and even non-baseball fans were watching that thing.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, B. There you go. That's
fine. Okay.
You get Jason talking about it. Everything. It'd be great. Good. Then I can
I'm not
take that one
off
my 5. So.
Yeah, off my 5. We should just keep calling this top 5.
No, I just gotta
5 best. Sorry, that's not even what it's called. Top 5. We should call this top 5.
Top
Everyone
5
remembers
that
title.
That's okay. That neither one of you ever know the name of our podcast. It's not a big deal.
I got us 2 new listeners.
Nice.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Well played.
And you did too. Greg, you got Bardwell.
Oh, did I?
Oh, you saw Bardwell?
Somehow.
Yeah. No, I did see Bardwell. How did I get Bardwell?
Or I don't know.
Well, good.
I texted him your info. And
nice.
I texted you his info.
Yeah.
And maybe his only application was, I don't want to see that, guys. Let's see what his podcast is about.
That's good. I mean, I don't care.
What's he up to?
If it's between seeing somebody and getting them to follow the podcast, I'd take following the podcast.
Oh my!
How did these wires get tangled up?
No, I'd have liked
That's
to see him.
priority.
My schedule got stupid, so I didn't get a chance to see him. But I would have liked to have seen him next time. I think I probably just need to move back
to the
to that
Midwest.
area at some point. Yeah. My wife
All
really
right,
wants
start
to
the
see.
scene.
I don't know. All right.
Oh, is it me?
Yeah, that's gonna
You
be
should
you.
probably
this
think
time,
about
dude.
B-sides too first.
Yeah.
Oh, I have
maybe
one.
drop
Or
that.
maybe,
Oh,
just
she
wait
has
for
one
summer.
already.
But
Wow.
it's topical, so you have to
Oh,
release this
boy.
around Halloween.
Oh boy.
Pressure's on, Greg.
Yeah, now I'm just gonna make them topical so they have to be timely.
That's not gonna work.
Yeah.
What'd you do for the new year? That's the one it's gonna be.
That's just this week's. Oh, it's a good B-side.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. You are listening to This Week in Gratitude with three pastor friends who get together once a week. We talk about what we're grateful for. Thanks for tuning in. And the three pastors are Greg in Texas, Jason in Michigan, and me, Bianca, in Seattle. We're so glad that you are here. And we hope that if you like it, you subscribe, tell your friends about it. We love hearing from you, so if you can find a way to get a hold of us, then let us know what you think. Yeah.
Strong open.
Strong. Nailed it. Textbook.
Couple of ways you can get a hold of us. I am on Twitter at Outpostings. I'm Greg. You can send me anything there, and I will take notes and feedback appropriately. It may or may not ever make its way back to the podcast, but we'll see. So, B, what's your Twitter handle?
I can't remember.
Oh my gosh. Jason, you don't know yours either, do you? Your Instagram one.
Bianca
No, just
R2.
if you want to get a hold of us, get a hold of Greg. There you
Yeah,
go.
get a hold of Greg.
Yeah, there. Why did I get? Okay,
Our message
I said
taker.
it.
It's like we thought that through. You know, it's. We don't want to give people options. You just say,
No,
hey, this is
yeah.
this is
We're
the
gonna
one
streamline
channel.
it. Yeah, we're gonna make it really simple for you at Outpostings.
Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe we should create a podcast Twitter.
Maybe you guys can't even log into your actual Twitter.
But I remember it's called This Week in Gratitude and tell everybody about it.
That's a good point. I like that. That might be the way to do it. All right.
I'll do it. Okay.
We'll see. All right, Bianca's gonna create a Twitter for us.
Sure.
Nice work, B. I love that. All right, I get
Can
to
we
go
all
first,
log
right?
into it?
Is that right? Yeah, then we can all
Yeah.
log into it.
That'd be fun. I have the Twitter app, I think.
Hmm.
Wow, I had it once at least.
Hey, when you're wondering which moment did we sound most old, this has to go on the list somewhere.
Pause and rewind.
Click to 10:25 on November 2nd. All right, I get to go first. My first one is a new comedian that I ran across through a buddy of mine. He has a Netflix special. His name is Ryan Hamilton, and his Netflix special is Happy Face. He is sort of like a cross between John Mulaney, Jerry Seinfeld, and Brian Regan. I'm not sure he's as good as any of those three, but he kind of like is like a combination of all of those three. But he has a joke right at the beginning, so I feel like I can share this one. It's super clean, by the way. That's the other thing. Like he's a super clean comic. He has a joke about being from Idaho and like telling people in New York that he's from Idaho, and they always say, "Oh, that's in the Midwest," and he says, "No, it's not. Like that's not in the Midwest." He goes, "But New Yorkers have created a geography that says there's New York and LA and then the Midwest." And he says, "It doesn't exist. And I can tell you it doesn't exist, but you still look at me like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm from there." His stuff on Idaho is great. But anyway, I stumbled across him from one of my friends, Cliff Prang, who's also a comedian, but he does not have a Netflix special. But Cliff recommended him, and I watched it, and then Abby and I watched it, and me and the kids watched it, and it's a really funny bit, really funny stuff. Jason, you'll like him a lot, I think, based on.
I think, and I've seen this one. I've seen this Happy Face one. I think he was on Last Comic Standing.
That's entirely possible. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
like
who he
early
is.
on, and his early, like I remember his bits from when he was in Last Comic Standing. He looks like a Jerry Seinfeld. Just something's wrong with his face. You remember that was his bit back in the. I don't remember what season of Last Comic Standing he was on, but I remember his bit from that. But yeah,
he's got a super weird face.
Yeah,
for sure.
I love that. I like that happy face. Good, solid beginning right there.
Solid start to the day.
Yep.
I know exactly who you're talking about, but I've never seen his stand up. I know
really?
he has a new one. Yeah, he kind of looks like P. Holmes, but like a weird version of him.
Yeah, he's just like he makes the joke that he looks like
a lot of people.
Yeah, but like kind of like a 50s ice cream scooper.
Yeah.
Slash with like a ventriloquist doll, and that's kind of right. Like that's kind of what he looks like.
Yeah, but you thought he was funny.
I thought it was really funny. Yeah, I laughed at a bunch of different spots throughout it.
And I love clean stuff.
Yeah, I think that was the part that like it's funny anyway, even if it had been dirty. But it was funny, and then I was like, oh, good, I can watch this with my kids, and they'll get a kick out of it. And there was definitely like he's got a bit on trying to cancel his gym membership. That's fantastic. And you can see some different things in his like comedy where it's like he's not mean yet, but once he gets mean, he's gonna be great. Yeah, he calls the gym membership, and the guy says, "Hey, there's 2 different ways to cancel your gym membership," and he goes, "No, there's just this way. I called you. Now you can cancel halfway, and we're done with this whole thing." Like,
yeah, that's good.
I think you'll appreciate it.
Yeah. It's a very average name.
I know it was hard to remember. I had to write it down. But Happy Face makes sense with him.
And on a side note, I canceled my gym membership, and it's true. There are 2 ways to do it. You can do it like a handwritten letter.
That's what he said. That's what he
or you can go down there.
And his joke about the handwritten letter is that can't be right because I don't remember signing up for this in the Civil War.
I can't believe that's one of the ways. That's funny.
Yeah. You go in person or you send in a handwritten letter.
My funny part of canceling was the guy said, "Hey, do you want a reason? Do you want to write me do you want to give a reason to type in here?" And I just said, "Yeah, I moved to Midwest." I moved to the Midwest. I gave up on life. I don't want to exercise.
There you go. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You should just say, "I bought
I bought some. I want to finish this cake by the end of the day." Anyway, am I next?
No, I don't think so.
I was waiting for you guys to stop talking about the gym.
It's not going to happen. Jason and I talk all the time.
This is a show. It's still on, but I'm just now watching it for the first time. From some recommendations from people I trust, I started watching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. And the 1st and 2nd seasons are on Netflix. And so I started watching them. The one thing I was not excited about was that they like stop and sing. It's like a musical show, which I really hate musicals. So I didn't think I was going to like that one. But it's funny. Apparently she won, the main actress, Rachel Bloom, won some acting awards, which she totally deserves. She's like very good in it. And it's cutesy, it's not too high.
Why do you keep recommending these kinds of shows to us?
I am. That's for the listeners. It's not for you. All
right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, and you're not choosing, so I don't care if anyone chooses it. It's just what I'm doing. I'm watching. It's like wind down, watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, see what hijinks that she's gotten herself into this week.
What crazy songs they're gonna sing, yeah. Yeah,
and some of them they come back, the songs, and then I'll just get them stuck in my head for the rest of the day. So they're pretty catchy. So yeah, it's a cute show. It's won a lot of awards, and now I'm realizing like they were well deserved. It's a good show. It's a lot of work. I mean, not only do they have to come up with a plot and have good acting, but they also have to like sing and dance too. So anyway, I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying it's making me happy.
All right, that's fair. That's a good call. That's a good call.
Watch it, don't watch it. Live your life. I don't care.
I watched a couple. I watched a couple of the episodes, and the main girl's talented, man.
I know, she's great.
I don't know her name, but she was good. And then I personally liked it because it's in LA, and
it's in West Covina, California.
Yeah, West Covina. Yeah. So it's just cool. You remember we used to watch Grey's Anatomy just for like
Seattle
pictures. because of the Space Needle.
That's a good point.
Or
I
the
was
Tower of
picturing
Miracle.
you still in California, so yeah, that's a good point. I can see that why that would be appealing. We did used to
Yep.
do that. We used to watch Grey's Anatomy. I hated Grey's Anatomy, but I would watch it because it took place in Seattle, and I miss Seattle.
That's why I watched Twilight.
Forks. It's nowhere
All right.
near.
All right, my first one, and I don't think you guys are gonna, either one of you are gonna watch this, but Black Sabbath, The End of the End. There's a documentary out there by Black Sabbath. It's on Black Sabbath. Just a really well done documentary. It's about their last show. They go back to where they started, Steel Town in England. And it's just a really, I like the documentary a bunch, but I like Black Sabbath a lot. I like the music a lot, but it was the most interesting. Well, it's a tie. It was all real. I love listening to the music with it because they were showing the show, the last show that they were doing, and then they were also like interspersed like interviews with the different band members, and the interviews with the band members are really intriguing. I thought they're all clean and sober now, and they have been for a couple years. And they've gone through, it's like it's a good case study that becoming famous and making a lot of money and being a rock and roll band, it doesn't shelter you from normal things. One of the guys gets cancer, they lose friends along the way due to overdose and that kind of jazz. So it had a lot of heart. I like the documentaries. So I was grateful for it. I was loving. Anyway, that's it. I guess that's Black Sabbath. The End of the End.
It's crazy, like certain bands staying power, like even though like I have never listened, I don't think I've ever listened to a Black Sabbath song. Certainly not all the way through.
Iron Man. They throw it in everything.
War Pigs.
Iron Man. I am.
I never listened to
that. Is he alive or dead?
They play it on the radio a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't listen to the radio though.
Even in the movie Iron Man, I think they end with.
I've heard the song. I've never listened to the song all the way through.
Okay, I could see that being true.
But there's like my point was it's just like I just saw like a 13-year-old kid with a Black Sabbath shirt on the other day. Like when you brought it up, I was like, hey, wait a second, I just saw my neighbor wearing a Black Sabbath shirt. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Like I don't know like next to anything about them other than I've never really listened to them. That's all. That's nuts, man.
The staying power that's a interesting piece. Because this didn't make This Week in Gratitude, but I went to see Ben Folds last Friday night.
Yeah.
How did that not
make it? Yeah.
Because I don't know. It was interesting.
You saw this Black Sabbath documentary.
Yeah, this documentary was better than the show. It was interesting. It was all college age kids. I was blown away because I thought it'd be all my college age kids. It'd be a bunch of 40-year-olds. But it's all these college kids. I was like, wow, that's incredible how he's like turned over and brought in this whole new crowd of young adults.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Anyway.
Well, the other thing is, like, I think, like, do you think it's easier to have staying power in a niche than it is broad mainstream?
I imagine that. Yeah, I imagine that's got to be the answer.
Because like Black Sabbath is like the best of a certain kind of band, right? So
yeah.
If you get into that kind of music, you'll always like Black Sabbath.
It's true. That's good. This is gonna be a 6-hour thing. Who needs to hit it?
We're doing perfect time-wise. Relax yourself, man.
Okay.
All right, I'm up next. My next one is a book I am like 2/3 of the way through, and my son finished. It's a book that was recommended to me by one of my good friends, Brandon. It's called Resisting Happiness by Matthew. Resisting Happiness. And the guy who writes it is a Catholic guy, and he's got a couple of different kind of ministries and businesses going or whatever. But it's essentially a book on decision making, or like how we make the choices we make and why. And his basic kind of question is if there's a bunch of things that we know make us happy, how come we don't do those things? And it's like, it's things that are hard maybe, or things that are a little bit more hard than other things. Like his opening example is like when you wake up in the morning and the alarm goes off, you know your life will be better if you just get out of bed and turn off your alarm. But you hit snooze because it's easier to hit snooze than it is to get out of bed, for example. And so that's like a goofy example that he has, but he has a bunch of other ones about like prayer and exercise and things like there are things that we, that why is it hard to pray even though we know prayer is good for us and we enjoy it and it makes our lives better. We still keep running into this kind of what he calls resistance, right? It's still difficult to do for some reason. And so part of it's about recognizing the resistance and learning to kind of lean into it and just fight through that part of it. But it's a really good book. I really recommend it.
I think I saw that guy on a talk show. What's the guy's name?
His name is Matthew Kelly.
Matthew Kelly.
He's written a bunch of other books too, or like he kind of has an interesting ministry model because it's basically like if the cost of one book is basically the same as the cost of like 6 books. So like one book is like $15, but if you buy 6 of them, it's $18 or something because he wants you to give them away. So it's kind of an interesting. I don't know, but he's written some stuff on like converting to Catholicism and why Catholicism is important.
Wait a second, pause for a second, because I'm kind of slow. You buy 6 copies of this Resisting Happiness. You
can. I did not.
And they're cheaper?
Well, it's like the same price basically.
Huh.
If you jump on Amazon and try to buy it, it'll cost you like $14 or $15. But if you buy 6 of them, it'll cost you $18.
That's kind of cool. I think I don't know how he pulls that off, but that's something worth mentioning on gratitude. That guy's got something good in mind. I think, he's trying to spread goodness. I think that's
right. So I got a free copy of it because my buddy had like 4 extra copies. Because that's how he bought 6 of them. So he had a couple laying around, and it's like, great, I'm going to steal one. So
that's fun.
Yeah. So anyway, but and I had my oldest son read it. So he knocked it out in like a day or so. So that was cool. And he's it's a good book. I would recommend it. I don't know where you can find it. Like I don't know if your library will have it or whatever. And I think there's an Audible version of it somewhere, but not on Audible, I don't think. So I don't know.
Huh. You're gonna hate this connection, but it kind of when you were talking about that when he says, why do we resist what we know is good? Is going to, in the long run, be helpful and beneficial. It reminds me of C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity, like in the first or second chapter when he's talking about that truth as being a proof for the existence of God. Where do we get that this is going to be good? Where do we get this? Where do we get this, like this thought pattern in the back of our minds that in the end this is going to be good, but I don't ever get there. But just the list showing up that this is going to be good, he uses that as an argument for the God. Anyway,
you were right. I didn't love that connection. I've become too predictable, Jason.
It's too easy. All right, who's next? Do I go next?
No, it's me.
We're gonna go in the same order as the first one, Jason.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up baseball again because I love baseball so much. Greg reminded me that it's the World Series, not just the Game 7, which I did have to miss last night because of youth group, which was such a bummer. And but I recorded it, although I only recorded the first hour. So after getting home and watching the first hour, I watched the highlights. But I did watch all the other games when I could. I love that the Astros won. Spoiler alert, Astros won the World Series in 2017.
Well, this isn't going to come out for like a month, so it's
now every dirt that any player has been already dredged up. So by the time you listen to this, but yeah, so I I grew up in Houston. My family's Texan. We're very proud of our Houston Astros. My first baseball games were at the Astrodome. Nolan Ryan is like a saint in our family. So, yeah, so we're pretty excited as a family. It's too bad I missed the last game, but I didn't look on any social media on my way home so I could watch the 1 hour of the game. And I did later. All my cousins in Houston are going crazy. So anyway, it couldn't be the Mariners. I'd love for it to be the Mariners someday. It's been 40 years as a franchise. The Mariners have been around, but I'm still as excited. Maybe I'm like 90% as excited that the Stros won, because it makes my family so happy that they won. And you know, I used to like that team a lot. So, and I like this team. I like this year's team a lot. And yeah, and we've been through a lot. That city's been through a lot this year. Hurricane Harvey hit, so it's just kind of cool that the city can have something to celebrate. So yeah. Anyway, World Series, go, go, go. It was so.
You skipped the worst of the 7 games. So.
What? Like, nothing really happened.
Yeah, it was the least climatic. It was over right away.
And I actually saw the first 2 innings. That all happened within the hour. So I'm like, maybe they didn't score much after this, and they really didn't. I saw the other hits, but it seemed like most of the stuff happened pretty early on in the game.
I think the takeaway for me from the series was that like when baseball's good, it's really, really good, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like when and the ability for it to like capture your attention for a week or 2 weeks, like that's awesome. Like that's like the best thing about baseball. The problem is it's just not that good very often. But this series was amazing.
2 of the best teams, so you knew something. It was either going to be pitching or hitting, and yeah, sometimes I wonder, am I in my own little bubble and thinking like everyone's watching this? I'm so glad it's such a good series. I'm like hearing everyone talking about it. Or maybe I'm just in a bubble with people who already like baseball. I'm not sure how much it resonated with the culture in general of this series, but who cares? I like it
a lot.
Really?
Some of the numbers that I've seen, at least, like it beat football and it beat basketball.
Oh wow!
So and it doesn't usually beat Monday night or Sunday night football, and it destroyed Sunday night football. I think it was Sunday night. It might have been Monday night, but yeah, it's just one of those crazy. It was just a really interesting series, and it was like what was interesting about it was the baseball itself was good. It wasn't like It wasn't because it was like the Yankees and the Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers are a big team, and Houston's a big enough market. But you know what I mean? Like they're not huge. Like it wasn't Boston versus Chicago or something, right? Like it was legitimately just like, oh, this is really interesting.
2 of the best teams from the year.
And
it is kind of interesting too because our whole lives we've been told like pitching beats hitting, but the Astros just like. They just kept scoring runs. Like they just kept hitting. Like it didn't because the Dodgers have a better pitching staff than the Astros do. I mean,
and the Astros have some, but definitely not to fill out the whole thing as much as the Dodgers did. But and watching them hit is awesome. I mean, that's actually really fun. I mean, even as like a diehard, I love good pitching, but you know, watching good hitting will captivate anybody. So.
Yeah, that was a good series. It's weird. My takeaway was it's interesting to me how people scrape together reasons to root for a team. All of this, and I think everybody was roped into, from what I could tell, everybody in this town was roped into watching the World Series, whether they were baseball fans or not. And it was Verlander. It's all because he used to play for the Tigers.
Oh, yeah.
And that's their loose thread, but they just cross it. The whole state runs behind it. It's like it was crazy to see everybody rooting for the Stros just because that Verlander guy. And then do you remember the Saints when they were in the Super Bowl and it was the year that the hurricane hit New Orleans?
Yeah.
It was bizarre because I remember they were seeing tons on TV about that. It was weird that they didn't bring that up really at all in Houston. I didn't see any specials.
The guys did in the post game interviews. Almost every single player brought it up. In Puerto Rico, some of them are Puerto Rican. But I guess I wasn't really watching the broadcast, but the post game interviews with the players, it's on their minds, and they all have the Houston Strong patches and things like that. But yeah, maybe not the broadcasters as much.
Yeah.
Well, there was also like T-Mobile had like the commercials every commercial break of like every home run is worth $20,000.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, HR for HR or something. It was kind of cool. That like, yeah, but it was also like I appreciated that it wasn't just about that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I thought that was a good catch, Jason. Like,
Yeah, because those guys are like from other countries and like they're not anyway, but they're playing for Houston. And it reminds me, we're actually some people from our church, including myself, are going to Houston in January for hurricane relief. So
nice.
That'll make one of my top.
We're taking a trip. This was so not to Houston though, but we're going to like Rock Border, wherever.
Yeah.
One other crazy thing about this is Sports Illustrated predicted this in 2014.
I know.
That's the craziest one.
And George Springer was on the cover, who was the World Series MVP. It's like, nuts. How do you predict that?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So,
good
crazy.
Stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Baseball's back. I like it.
Well, it's gone now, but yeah.
All right. My highlight from the last week, I got to go to Chicago this week.
Wait, isn't it Jason's turn?
Oh yeah, she talked so much during that one. I thought it was Jason.
What? I didn't even talk at all. Well, I did. I guess I talked a lot.
Sorry, Jason. I tried to jump into you. It's like
I know. Gotta jump in around here.
No worries. No worries. My second one is Minecraft: The Island. It's juvenile fiction by Max Brooks, Mel Brooks' son. He also wrote World War Z.
So it's a book.
Wicked good book.
Your son loves Minecraft.
He does, and that's kind of the premise of the book. Is he writes it first person as a dad that sees his kid playing Minecraft, so he figures out like he wants to play Minecraft, but he ends up in the Minecraft world, and he's teaching these survival techniques, much like World War Z, And it ends. I love books that end and everything flips. It's one of those, and he writes the flip in the epilogue. So it's cool. It's got a nice little twist.
Nice.
But it's not a little twist. It's a nice huge twist. Succinctly.
I was not expecting fan fiction to grow out of Minecraft.
Yeah.
I probably could have predicted that. So is it I thought you were kidding. I was like waiting for your laugh.
Serious. I did not see that coming.
So it's a YA book. So did Zeke read it too, or is it more of like an adult? I think the zombie book is pretty but
the zombie book's a little too probably over the line. But
so
Zeke had the story behind it was this is Zeke's first, like he chooses a book and does a book report.
Oh,
and so this is the first book he chose, and so I read it with him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I might just have to read it to be in touch with the middle schoolers these days.
It get me. Like my most commonly asked question inside my head as Zeke spends hours on this thing is, seriously? Like, it seems more boring than Zelda. It seems like it seems
the game, yeah.
It's like watching paint dry or something. Like I have no idea. But this little novel or whatever, this juvenile fiction book, it got me. I could see it now. I understand a little.
Oh, really?
Bit. Yeah.
It's probably worth it just for that then.
Yeah.
It was worth it for an answer key kind of to why he spends so much time on it.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, it's boring. It's like I can't imagine something more boring.
Really?
Oh man, I don't get it at all. I've tried and I've tried to play with them and I've tried to see how it works, and it's like
you could probably imagine something more boring.
I don't know. Like this is like digital Legos. I guess regular Legos might be more boring. I don't know. Like there's a toss up.
No, regular Legos are.
This just does not scratch the part of my brain that gets interested by things at all. I'm fascinated that it's huge and it's enormously popular. That's interesting, Jason. I like that one.
Yeah, thanks, Jay.
And as a tool into that world, that's helpful because I do not get it. Minecraft Boring Island. What was the name of it?
No, the Island.
Come on.
Really close. Really close.
I got two of the three. I should be able to find it. But it's by Max Brooks for real?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mel Brooks' son.
Is that true?
And Bancroft?
I think that's true. I only know the Brooks thing because it's his last name. I'm like, yep. I saw him on a talk show. Yep. About that. I think it was on Conan or somebody.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, why don't you fact check that for us, B, while we're rolling forward, just to be safe.
Yeah, parents Mel Brooks and Bancroft.
Yep.
World War Z.
And he's credited with writing
Wait, you don't trust
Minecraft
me?
the Island.
Who's the public guy? Oh,
No, it's just a weird
Minecraft
thing.
the Island.
Yeah.
There it is, Jason.
2017.
You got it, man.
Bada bing.
Jason.
Did I ever done it, Jason?
He's not a moron. Okay, let's go.
He knows things.
That was not why I douded you.
That was like-
I did not doubt you because I thought you were a moron. It just seemed like an odd
Yeah,
thing that Mel Brooks' kid would write a book about Minecraft. It was just hard to connect all those dots in my head.
And other things.
And other things. I didn't know he wrote World War Z either. That's cool. All right. Let's see. My third one is that I got to spend the weekend in Chicago with a bunch of guys that I've known for a long time.
Yeah.
So we did our all of us turned 40 this year. So we did a weekend in Chicago to celebrate turning 40 and being 40. And it was a blast. It was just a really fun weekend, and it was cool to see everybody, and it was encouraging and all that kind of stuff. My biggest surprise takeaway from the weekend is probably how influential Weird Al is. It was shocking.
That's
Shocking.
Were you guys quoting him all the time? Or
yeah, well, we were just kind of sitting around, and my buddy Greg plays music, and he's a really gifted guitar player, and then I got another buddy that plays music, and so we're sitting around playing music, and they were just messing around on guitar, and then all of a sudden they got into Weird Al. We must have did 15 or 16 Weird Al songs by memory.
Oh my
It was crazy. It's ridiculous the level to which 40-year-old guys know Weird Al stuff.
It's
really possible it's a really small sample size, but I don't think it is.
No.
My experience is I think it was just we were all really lonely and bored in middle school or something. I don't know, but it's an astonishing range from that guy. That was my takeaway from Weird Al stuff. Is he's been doing that forever, and the songs we were singing were off of I don't know 10 different albums or something. So it wasn't just this one window in time where we were all into Weird Al. It was man, Weird Al has strange staying power. I don't know why, but it's pretty impressive.
That's fun.
I know why. It's because he's fun. I mean,
he is fun.
He's definitely fun, but I don't know if there's another musician I could quote lyrically as accurately as I can quote Weird Al.
You might be the biggest Weird Al fan in the whole world.
I'm not even the biggest one in that group. That was there was 6 of us, and I was probably 5th. I couldn't believe it.
I think I got Yoda. I think that's the only one I know.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think I could probably do 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you start going, it's every line naturally leads into the next line. It's crap, I knew that whole song.
My biggest takeaway from your Chicago trip is group texts are super annoying. You put me on the first group text 2 years ago.
You should have gone, man. That's why.
Welcome to every meme ever created.
You were texting
Don't
me.
try to explain what a meme is. I've tried this before.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
And I had a list of 8 numbers. I have no idea who these people are, but they're oh, this burger's delicious. Oh wow, meet me over here. It's what is wrong with these people?
When my friends do that, I type back unsubscribe.
I probably should have taken you off that, Jason. Sorry, I forgot you were on it. To be honest.
And I didn't want to do a jerk move of unsubscribe, because it's your 40th birthday and you guys are all having fun.
Yeah.
Just mute it.
Yeah. I just roll with it and then complain about it here.
That's good. That's a better way to do it.
I what I got from Greg's weekend in Chicago.
My favorite way of being aggressive, passive.
Yeah, that's good.
There we go.
I like that.
Okay. Oh, is it my turn again?
It is your turn again, B.
Okay. My last one is having to do with the youth group. I've been bringing in guest speakers on Wednesday night youth group, and both of them so far are staff here at UPC. They're people I work with, but they do very interesting things. One of them, he's the worship guy. He just is the music person for the services, but he also does prison ministry. And so I brought him in to talk to the kids about is this actually a problem? Prisons in U.S. It is a problem, and why should
Spoiler alert?
Why should Christians care about this? Because a lot of our kids they don't know anyone in jail. They probably don't think they think if you're there it's because you did something bad and that's it. You have to spend the rest of your life there. But Bob came in and just really spoke to them on on a kid level. And I've just been hearing so much good feedback from parents and kids being so thankful that we're looking at the larger world. And we do talk about middle school topics a lot, but, you know, kind of looking outside of ourselves and other things that Christians can get into. And then last night was about homelessness. We have a department here that does street youth ministries for young adults who are living on the streets. We have I talked about it earlier, but there's a street parallel to this church that a lot of people sleep at night. A lot of them are youth. They're 18 to 26 years old, and so they can come to this drop-in center, and some of it's just fun. They just do fun things together. Some of it is food. Some of it is resources. So she came and talked to the kids, and they were just wrapped. Like my middle schoolers were wrapped. Like, wow. I mean, they knew about the homeless community because they see it all the time, but just having that someone that's their job, you know, is to really jump into it, and then talking about why Christians should care. You know, it's a tight 30 minutes. You know, it's pretty long attention span time for a middle schooler in the first place, but they did really well. It was on that one was only last night, so I haven't heard feedback, but I'm sure that'll be comparable to when we talked about prison ministry, just like looking outside of some of the more middle school topics that we focus on. So I'm just thankful for, I'm thankful that they came and were willing to speak in front of middle schoolers, which not everyone is like really jonesing to do. But also I'm just thankful for these ministries that they have, that they're quite passionate about it. You know, when I get to talk about middle schoolers, I'm passionate about it. And so to hear that my coworkers are passionate about what they do and even extra work stuff that they do, it's just really cool to see. And now we have that link. The kids know who they are. They're saying hi to them in the hallways, kind of that intergenerational ministry that we're trying to cultivate here. So anyway, I'm just thankful for that this went so well, that this idea I had months ago is actually worked out really well, and thankful for those people. So that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's an awesome one.
Yeah, you guys should hear about prison ministry, man. It is no joke.
Yeah, I went juvenile hall. I did juvenile hall ministry right next to Theo Lacey, which is a prison in Orange County, and I love that. I did it for a couple of years, and that was a neat piece. And I think it's when you said just showing the larger world. I think kudos, B. You're doing your job and you're doing it well. That's awesome. I love it when your ideas fire on all cylinders and rock these kids' souls.
Yeah, rock these kids. That's our program name, The Rock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, I got to plug in
it all together.
I got the plug in there.
Yeah, come to The Rock, everybody.
One of the best YouTube talks I ever heard was by a prison minister. And the thing I remember from like his line that I remember being like shocked at hearing, but has like been true for me in ministry ever since, has been that tears are neutral. That was his like. He's like, I talked to a lot of guys who have cried. I've talked to a lot of groups that cry. He says tears are neutral. Mm-hmm. It's what you do after that matters. It's just kind of like, oh, all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tears are just showing emotion, not really naming what that one would be.
He's good.
Yeah, that's good. It helped that he talked about like this guy got shot in the eye, and like this is what happens if we're on lockdown. And I'm like, okay, let's. That's a lot of it of the kids wanting to hear more about that, but also knowing him and stuff. So anyway,
that's fantastic.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
A+. Good job. That's a good
file
one.
this under like every time you tell these stories. I'm like, man, I wish my kids had B as a youth pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty awesome. We're actually leaving for fall retreat tomorrow, so I have a little at the end of our rope. Can't wait for November 6th, which is my sister's birthday. So I'll just be relaxing after this weekend.
Nice.
All right, my third. I don't know how to label it, but it's I'll set the stage by this is the 14th anniversary of my mom passing due to pancreatic cancer. I think how I'm going to label it is just grateful for the church. Actually grateful for God using the church so effectively. As it was October 30th, 14th anniversary, I got a card from, because it's also Pastor Appreciation Month, and the Van Velens, their family that goes that worships at McGrath, and as Pastor Appreciation Month, they sent me an Amazon like gift card, and it just hit right at the right time, and it was just like, I'm grateful for what you're doing. Here's a little shopping money on Amazon, and there's no way that the Van Velens know that, like, my mom and I was a mama's boy. Like, we would connect a lot over shopping. It's weird. My wife makes fun of me on a regular basis how much I like to shop, but I just got to shop a little on Amazon and buy a couple records and spend some time just being grateful for how good my mom was. And the church made it possible, specifically the Van Velens. And it was an interesting piece about me. You guys know me pretty well. I'm pretty darn selfish. And so this is I got this gift card, and for some reason, the first thing that popped into my mind, maybe is just focusing on how giving my mom was or something. For some reason, it was a rare, selfless moment. I thought, hey, I should buy my little brother a record. And so I bought my little brother a record. It was the first thing I bought with this Amazon gift card and had it sent to him. But just because, he's missing my ma too. I don't know. It was yeah. So there's my third one, is just grateful for the church, specifically the Van Velen family, and how God used the Van Velen family to show up, not before, not after, just right on time with an appropriate, hey, here's some time to celebrate and spend some time thinking about how good your ma was as you buy stuff on Amazon.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's good. What record did you buy him?
I bought him. He's really into Benjamin Booker. He's hanging out with some R&B dudes because he's working at Pete's, and he's really getting into like R&B. Yeah, Pete's Coffee in Pasadena. Mm-hmm. Delicious. But yeah, Benjamin Booker's first album. That's what I bought him.
Yeah, that's good.
One of the things I've always appreciated about you, Jason, probably because it's so far from who I am, even though we're both equally selfish, I've always appreciated how willing you are to share your grieving, especially with your mom. And so, I don't know, from a different side, just looking in on that and having you as a friend in that, that's always been something I've really appreciated. So thanks for bringing that one up again.
Hey, thanks for being my buddy through it.
Yeah. Yeah, even after having worked with you for 1 year, I knew what the date was. Like, you mentioned it a lot. You don't really want to preach around that time. And it's like, okay, this is support Jason time, end of October.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm glad you got, you have some people supporting you over there.
Word.
All right, dude. Now you get to rank them.
You have to choose them.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
Top
Good.
five. Top five time.
Top five time. I'll throw Greg a bone by giving him Resisting Happiness.
Yes.
Because I was particular. I can't believe that you buried the lead. Like, you buy more and it's a little. That's crazy. That's the point. I think like he's wanting this book to change. And he somehow worked it out with his publisher. That's an amazing feat. I don't know how the heck
he publishes it. That's how.
That's awesome. I'll do B as my number 2, the prison ministry one. Bob, what was his last name?
Davies.
Labla.
Bob
Bob Davies. I just love that B is still bringing it home and changing kids' lives, and that's awesome. I throw Minecraft, the island, just as a answer key to your teen children or tween children, by Mel Brooks' son. Max Brooks.
Way to throw that in there again.
I'll throw that.
You were spot on, dude. You were spot on. I know not to question your pop culture knowledge. I don't know what I was doing.
From Mel Brooks' child.
I don't know what I was doing, man.
From his seed. Okay. And then I'll do Ryan Hamilton, Happy Face, just because I think the world needs more clean comedians, and I'm waiting for him to get bitter like Greg is praying for. That's gonna be fun. And then I think last, I'll just throw Crazy Ex-Girlfriend in there.
Yeah.
How do you put that? You didn't even talk about your mom or the church. Come on, dude. You got that.
I know the church.
Not
All
better
right,
than
that's a consistent gratitude. I think that
All
overarches
right.
all of them. That's
All
kind of
right.
that's kind of the heart behind the podcast. You know what I mean? That's
Man.
lifetime gratitude.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's it. B-sides.
Okay, here it is. It's a question. What is your favorite?
You started with what? What did you think it was going to be?
Question mark.
I don't know. Can you do what? Okay. Your favorite past Halloween costume in your life, and then you can pick one of someone else's if you want to.
Oh boy.
Mine was not at the time, but looking back, it's so funny that one year, I can't remember how old I was, but I was just a red crown, not a crown, like a crayon. I always forget to say crayon. A red crown. And so in Texas, we call it crown. It wasn't until I moved to the Northwest where that's not called a crown. But I was a red crown, and we bought the suit part and the hat part. And then my mom made red cheeks on me, and I was just a red crown. It's so abstract. It's I just love that. It wasn't like a tiger, an angel, or something. It was you're a crown, and I was like, okay. Anyways, that's the favorite one I've ever been. Every time I look at that picture, it makes me laugh.
Nice.
I don't know the best one I've seen of other people's, or even this year.
I think my favorite, for me growing up, I went as Sherlock Holmes, and my mom made the whole costume. But then I got to have a pipe, which I thought was awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah.
How
so
old
as
were
I don't know, 7 or 8, something like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
That's a good one.
Maybe I'll go.
I like that. I got to have a cool jacket, and I had the hat and the pipe.
You should have just kept wearing that even past.
Yeah, I should. I don't know why I didn't. That's the kind of thing I'd have done too. I don't know, but I just stopped. The best one, one of my kids, I think Josh, a few years ago, came up with this idea called candy pants, which he just put a hula hoop around him and then sewed it all together so they could wear sweatpants with a hula hoop. And the whole thing was they just threw candy into his pants. All right, I like it. Cut out the middleman.
Yeah, that's
candy pants. I'm in.
I think my favorite one that I went as was a simple football kid, and it's just because it was early on memory, and I still have those little pictures, they used to be little, they used to be 3x3 or something, when you got pictures. Or I have a picture of me and my first childhood best friend, this guy named Danny Kellogg, and he's wearing he just smeared brown stuff all over his. I think he was an army guy, but he just looked like a guy covered in mud, his face. And he's got the dumbest grin on his face. He's smiling from ear to ear. And I'm just wearing because my older brother had played Pop Warner, and so I was just wearing his football stuff. I think it makes it my favorite of mine, just because I remember that year having a lot of fun. Just trick-or-treating and running around. And I think the favorite one I've ever seen was a few years back. I saw somebody with a Jackson 5 outfit. He was the center one. I don't know, Jermaine.
Oh, and then they go out from there.
And he had 4 other people. He had 2 people. They were like dummies, but they were linked to his arms, and so he could he move and stuff like that. And he walked. They were walking. It was. I don't know how he couldn't go in anywhere, but he was stuck outside and whatever. He was wearing it.
Yeah, but you're walking around Halloween. That's good.
Yeah, he was walking around on Halloween.
Yeah,
I think that's the favorite one.
My favorite one would probably be an animal one, animals dressed up as things. I think it's really funny, but I can't think of what specifically. I should have probably thought that through.
Do you remember the Halloween that we were together in Texas when Zeke, we dressed him up like a turtle, but it was like a fuzzy turtle suit, and it was 110. Do you remember? It was and so he was like a red-faced turtle. It was crazy. We had pictures of that too. He's just sweating.
I remember that. That's funny.
Sweating. It was funny.
Yeah, that's good.
That's hilarious. So I'm at the stage. I now have I have 2 kids who are not doing Halloween anymore that they've crossed over. So
because they're in high school now.
Yeah, we only got 2 left that are doing it. So.
Aww, that's sweet.
Yep. Yep.
Does anybody else watch Inside the NBA?
I have watched
I
Inside the
used
NBA.
to.
Shaq
Yeah.
Diesel was talking about the last time he did. When he was 13, he was 6'6". so he's trick or treating. This guy looks up at him and says, "How old are you?" And so that was the last time he trick or treated.
Then he became a millionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
All right.
that's it. Thank you.
All right, guys. Always good to talk.
Yeah.
Please subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you next week.
Later, skaters.